Over the years, our two nations have collaborated across many fronts, from education, health, and infrastructure to climate resilience, defense cooperation, and people-to-people ties. These are the bonds that have grown, and not only through formal agreements, but through shared experiences, shared aspirations, and shared Pacific identity. Today, as you address our Parliament as the second leader to do so, and the first from New Zealand, we look forward to deepening our dialogue and further enriching the partnership between our nations. Prime Minister, on behalf of all members of this House and the people of Papua New Guinea, many of whom are tuned in via radio, television, and online platforms, I extend to you a most heartfelt welcome. May our words today serve to further strengthen the enduring goodwill between our nations and contribute meaningfully to a more united and prosperous Pacific region. Welcome and thank you. I now invite the Prime Minister of New Zealand to address this Parliament.
The Honourable Job Pamat, Speaker of the Papua New Guinea National Parliament, the Honourable James Marape, Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea, the Honourable Douglas Komorisa, the Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Members, distinguished guests, members of the Diplomatic Corps, ladies and gentlemen, and the people of Papua New Guinea. Tēnā koutou, good morning, Joa Lageta. Good morning to you all. I want to begin by acknowledging the Motukoita people of the Port Moresby area as the traditional custodians of the land on which we are gathered here today. Taba no moana. I also wish to open by expressing my best wishes to all of Papua New Guinea on your upcoming 50th anniversary of independence, and on behalf of New Zealand and of all New Zealanders, please accept my sincerest congratulations ahead of your Golden Jubilee. Mr. Speaker, it is a deep honour for me to address this incredible Parliament today. I am extremely conscious of the rare privilege that you have granted me as the first Prime Minister of New Zealand invited to speak in this esteemed chamber, and through all of you, honourable members, with the people of Papua New Guinea whom you represent. Because this building is more than a seat of government, it is a house where the spirit of Papua New Guinea finds its collective voice. Voices of your tribes and towns, of your islands and highlands, of your elders and of your youth, and of your men and women. They are voices that help navigate your national journey between tradition and transformation. And today I am humbled to bring another voice, and I hope a spirit from your Pacific kith and kin, New Zealand, your friend. Mr. Speaker, it is clear to me that Papua New Guinea is an ambitious nation, and so you should be. You are a nation whose spirit rises with the mist over the highlands, whose determination flows with the mighty Sepik and Fly rivers, is as high as Mount Wilhelm. You are a nation rich not only in natural beauty and resources, but in the resilience and the creativity and spirit of your people. I know this venerable house is where you as the nation's elected leaders are entrusted with the ambitions, the aspirations, the dreams of your people for a brighter future. But your country is not only ambitious, it is courageous. Papua New Guinea is not for the faint-hearted. Your mountains are precipitous, your coastlines are wild, your cultures and languages legendarily diverse. Yet you are charting your own course, embracing democracy, celebrating diversity, and pursuing development and peace in a uniquely human and Papua New Guinean way. Honourable members, your courage means Papua New Guinea has never shied away from acknowledging the development challenges you face or questioning choices made or paths taken. These are good questions that any country should ask. Neither of our nations should settle for the status quo or cease to strive for a better future for our people. But it is worth acknowledging that over the past 50 years, you have forged a land of 1,000 tribes into one nation, one people, one country, through a shared commitment to democracy, the importance of community, and the belief that diversity comes from strength.
These are values that New Zealand also shares. Mr. Speaker, 50 years ago, New Zealand's Minister of Māori Affairs, the Honourable Matiu Rata, travelled to Papua New Guinea to represent the New Zealand government at the independence ceremonies in Port Moresby. And he carried with him a message from Prime Minister Rowling conveying best wishes and a solemn promise that Papua New Guinea can count at all times on the affection, support and good wishes of New Zealand. Even in 1975, it was clear that a prosperous and peaceful Papua New Guinea mattered to New Zealand. There are several reasons why. Your country is blessed with tremendous mineral wealth, vast agricultural potential and a youthful, dynamic population. Your economic trajectory holds enormous promise for your own people, for our Pacific region and for New Zealand. Our businesses are already working together with Kiwi firms, actively enabling your agricultural development, enhancing the efficiency of your resources sector and delivering some of your most celebrated and important landmarks, including Gordon's Market, the Kumul Flyover, bridge to Jackson's Airport and this very Parliament. Regionally, Papua New Guinea accounts for over 3/4 of the Pacific Islands landmass and almost 2/3 of its people. But your size means where you go, the Pacific goes. Where you succeed, the Pacific succeeds. Your strategic position connecting the Pacific to Asia puts you at the very heart of the Indo-Pacific, playing a critical role for trade routes and presenting opportunities to renew and deepen ancient ties, whether it be through your successful hosting of APEC in 2018 or your convening power for major engagements that connect the Pacific to the world. But that geographic position also means that in times of turbulence between both worlds and cost, Papua New Guinea has acted as a barrier between conflict in the world and the rest of the region. Your country, as you have pointed out, Prime Minister, is both a buffer and a bridge between Asia and the Pacific. It therefore almost goes without saying, honourable members, that Papua New Guinea matters to New Zealand and it matters to the Pacific. And the government that I lead is committed to strengthening our friendship and our partnership and our joint endeavours with you. Mr. Speaker, my visit is timed to celebrate 50 years of formal diplomatic relations between our two great countries. But our ties go back much further than this. For generations, our people have shared stories and trade and traditions. Millennia ago, explorers voyaged through your waters. Some remained amid the bounty of your islands. Others continued on, and eventually, some 800 years ago, the ancestors of New Zealand Māori reached the much colder but no less bountiful islands that we call home in New Zealand. This shared heritage is the backbone of our relationship. We share ancient stories that link us across our beautiful but vast Pacific. Our peoples later reconnected with New Zealand missionaries coming to Papua New Guinea in the late 19th and early 20th centuries to share their faith, a bond important to our peoples today. We later fought alongside one another during the Second World War, where the 3rd New Zealand Division played an active role in defending Papua New Guinea. Our largest amphibious operation during the war took place in this country, with New Zealand troops part of the effort to retake Torokina and Nissen Island, and the 4 New Zealand Air Force squadrons subsequently involved in the campaign to retake the critical air base at Rabaul. Our peoples fought and they died together in those challenging times. And today, New Zealand soldiers lie on Papua New Guinean soil in the hallowed cemeteries at Bomana, Lae and Bitapaka. But those New Zealanders who returned spoke very strongly and very warmly of the welcome that they received by Papua New Guineans and the friendships that they developed. Of course, the post-war period saw those friendships increase further, with New Zealand teachers and nurses and builders and engineers all coming to Papua New Guinea to support a new nation as you headed towards independence. And since then, our peoples have continued to actively support each other's communities. No fewer than 7 New Zealand Prime Ministers have visited Papua New Guinea since independence, and I am greatly honoured to be the 8th. The High Commissioner from New Zealand tells me that whenever he travels in Papua New Guinea, he finds New Zealanders everywhere, whether teaching in local schools, running small businesses or supporting the work of NGOs. Some have been here for decades, quietly contributing to their communities and helping to foster the ties between our nations. New Zealand volunteers have been active here since independence, contributing from nursing to agricultural science and from fisheries to high school counselling. None have left unaffected by the warmth and the love that they encountered here. You have a great many advocates back home in New Zealand. And I have to say the Papua New Guinea community in New Zealand is a vibrant one. It includes university lecturers and livestock consultants and small business owners and teachers. There are Papua New Guinean engineers helping deliver major new highways and owner-operator plasterers contributing to housing. These are Wontoks making our country better. Prime Minister Marape, the honour of being invited to address this House has caused me to consider what is New Zealand to Papua New Guinea. And of course we are long-standing friends and partners. That is a given. But I want to reflect on New Zealand's past, present and future contributions to Papua New Guinea. I have heard you share your thoughts on this, Prime Minister. I know you find value in New Zealand experience in the public sector, on state-owned enterprises, on private sector development and in trade agriculture. I believe there are also experiences relevant to your many tribes in Indigenous business and the success of iwi development models in New Zealand. There are many examples of our partnership supporting Papua New Guinea's development, ranging from New Zealand's support to develop your Fresh Produce Development Agency in the 1980s, through to our work together to improve the ease of doing business, critical for unlocking economic growth potential. Our work as part of the Papua New Guinea Electrification Partnership has connected over 10,000 households to the electricity grid. And since independence, our scholarship program has provided over 600 tertiary scholarships, plus numerous short-term training and capacity building opportunities. But there is more that we can do, working together as partners to contribute to Papua New Guinea's development aspirations. I spoke last night of the strength of our defence and our security cooperation, with many of your officers having learned the art of leadership in the legendary freezing temperatures of the Waigani military camp into the central North Island. We have a shared ambition to do a lot more together in that space. We remain honoured to have played a facilitative role in helping Bougainvilleans find an initial truce amongst themselves and then with Papua New Guinea. And we continue to walk alongside both governments as you jointly seek a mutually agreed way forward, including through our recent hosting of consultations at Burnham Military Camp. And on the shared global challenge of climate change, we are together raising our voices in world forums where the urgency of the Pacific's experience must drive action. Prime Minister, while there are differences between our countries, there are many parallels as well as similarities in geography, in culture and scale. Perhaps it is in fact the exchange of ideas and ways of doing things between two friends that should be the most important item on our shared future agenda. And I look forward to discussing the opportunities to strengthen this further when we meet later today. Mr. Speaker, honourable members, as Pacific countries, both New Zealand and Papua New Guinea have a vested interest in ensuring the security and the prosperity of our region. Prime Minister Kirk was an active proponent for Papua New Guinea's membership of the then South Pacific Forum in the early 1970s, with Sir Michael Somare present at the very creation. In fact, it wouldn't mind betting that the Grand Chief then went on to become probably the leader who attended the most forums leaders at meetings of any of us. Today, Papua New Guinea plays a critical leadership role in our regional architecture, and I know that you, Prime Minister, are especially interested in what more we can do together in this space. My view is that at a time of sharpening geostrategic tensions where others' actions and priorities may see division among our Pacific family, it is more important than ever that we work together with fellow Pacific Islands Forum members. When talking about our two countries' relationship with the Pacific, however, it would be remiss of me, of course, not to mention Australia, an indispensable partner to both our nations, and who as a fellow Pacific country engages at significant scale here and throughout the region in support of Pacific priorities. There is more that the three of us can do together and in concert with other Pacific countries to ensure continued peace and prosperity and to deliver on our collective ambitions under the 2050 strategy for the Blue Pacific continent. Honourable members, as we celebrate Papua New Guinea's 50th anniversary and the 50 years of partnership between our two countries, I want to close by reflecting on the prospects of our future engagement. I am heartened by this trusted friendship that we have built, but am also ambitious for our relationship. I am convinced that the best is yet to come, both for Papua New Guinea and for our partnership. Our political engagement is strong, and we should continue to expand our partnership at the ministerial level and to better link our institutions. Your success in holding an unbroken record of democracy since independence and keeping your peace and stability matters greatly to us and to the wider region. But there is more that we can do together to support this. Our trade has been growing, but there's scope for us to do so much more in both directions, including by fully integrating PNG into our regional trading arrangements. We can do more to leverage the connections between our peoples. We are making it easier for Papua New Guineans to visit New Zealand. And I certainly hope more New Zealanders will come and visit the natural and incredible cultural wonders of Papua New Guinea and experience everything that you have to offer as well. Separately, labour mobility is already an area of growth, but one where we should not rest on our laurels. And we can do more to grow our sporting ties, whether it is in league or union or soccer or cricket or netball, as well as our shared cultural connections. And we should give further thought to how we can work more closely together on regional and global issues. At a time of turbulence, it is up to us to create and defend the region that we want and to influence the world that we want to live in. Mr. Speaker, even in 1975, Prime Minister Rowling spoke of Papua New Guinea as a land with which New Zealand has forged close and lasting ties. 50 years ago, we were already close. I hope that in 50 years' time, when my successor comes for your centennial celebrations, he or she will be able to look back on our partnership that has continued to go beyond a handshake and has seen us continue to invest in each other's success. Ultimately, the strength of our partnership lies not only in governments, it lies in people. And it is strengthened as friendships are forged and as challenges are identified and faced down together. New Zealand is committed to work one team, and we will continue good on our shared belief that by working together, New Zealand and Papua New Guinea can create a bright and bold future for ourselves, and we can be an example to the world. Thank you to Masolgeta, lookum you behind, no re rā, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Thank you very much.
I now invite Prime Minister Marape to make a response.
Mr. Speaker, honourable members of Parliament, today we stand in a moment that will be etched into our national memory, a moment that reaffirms who we are as a country and what we stand for and who stands with us. It is my deep honor and privilege to embrace, accept, welcome, and thank to the People's House, my good friend, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, the Right Honourable Christopher Luxon, and your esteemed delegation. Papua New Guinea, thank you for honouring our nation and your presence for affirming the enduring relationship and friendship between our two people. This is only the second time in our nation's history that a world leader has addressed our parliament. A powerful symbol of the strategic importance New Zealand has with our country and Australia continues to have with our country. For New Zealand, it is a powerful symbol of strategic importance, mutual respect, and a good and long-standing relationship and bond between our two governments and our two countries, but more importantly, our two people. Mr. Speaker, New Zealand is not just a Pacific neighbour across the Pacific. You are a true partner, a friend of integrity who stood with us when our nation was born in 1975. You have walked with us every step of the way, and the 5 decades of independence we've had as a country, you have been a strong, reliable partner. Surely, as your Prime Minister then, Prime Minister Rowling, promised, none of his promises was broken. Every promise was up. You helped build our civil services. You helped educate our children. You delivered and contribute to our rural villages, whether in health or any other development aspirations. you did extend a big hand of peace during one of our darkest hours, or some of our darkest hours, the Bougainville crisis. That history of principal partnership is the foundation upon which we are ready to build our next chapter. Prime Minister Lakson, your visit comes at a pivotal point, not just in our nation's history, but in our two nations' bilateral relationship and our history. A moment where we both take reflection, but also make resolutions as to how we progress from here on. 50 years into our nation's independence, and amidst our fragilities, we remain a robust democracy. We remain a robust free market economy. We remain a people together in our diversity. We no longer a fledgling nation finding her feet. We are a people rising, determined to transform our economy, unify our diverse tribes, and empower our young citizens through agriculture, education, infrastructure, and more importantly, in the digital world, the involvement in digital innovation. We have declared that the next 50 years will be defined by what we receive, what we build with our hands, our hearts, and our God-given potentials. And in this mission, we are encouraged that we are not walking alone. Mr. Speaker, earlier this year, I had the privilege of undertaking a state visit to Aotearoa, New Zealand. It was more than a diplomatic formality. It was a renewal of vows between our two nations who believe in peace, people, and purpose. Together we launched the Papua New Guinea New Zealand Statement of Partnership 2025 to 2029, a bold framework grounded in strong political and regional collaboration, deeper economic engagement and responsible investment, greater opportunities for education and labor mobility, joint commitment to peace and security, especially in our Pacific, including our Bougainville, and shared stewardship of climate action and environmental resilience. In New Zealand, I had the pleasure of witnessing the wisdom of Maori leadership, the innovation of your enterprises, and the warm embrace of your people. We invited your business to invest in Papua New Guinea transformation, especially in agriculture, energy, infrastructure, and institutional reform. We laid the foundation to grow our labor mobility partnerships, aiming to lift our current 2,000 workers under the recognized seasonal employer scheme to more than 10,000, with pathways for skilled and permanent employment. Mr. Speaker, I want to inform you I was pleasantly blessed in the side of the Parliament to see a young Papuan family walking to me. He was a former University of Technology student in employment in New Zealand, and there's a growing diaspora of Papua New Guineans not working as imported seasonal workforce, but in skilled areas, finding their own feet. Some, as Prime Minister Lakson said, businessmen doing business in New Zealand, all work in different spaces of New Zealand. New Zealand has become a good hub of Papua New Guinea diaspora. And I want to thank you, Prime Minister Lakson, for the warm hospitality New Zealand has always rendered to Papua New Guineans. Our goal is not just to offer jobs, but future. For the 6 million young Papua New Guineans we right now have under the age of 25, we want them to find a place in PNG and the world around us. And we thank New Zealand for offering that opportunity for some of our children to find home and work and meaningful pursuit in New Zealand. I want to thank and register at this juncture New Zealand government's opening of visa, ease of visa requirements for Papua New Guineans to move into New Zealand. We celebrated also when I was there. I was privileged to go to Wellington Phoenix Football Academy. We watched this sporting event there. I saw how sport can also transform communities, anchor communities, embrace communities. We also acknowledge that you have been a tremendous help and support in the health and education sector in our country, from the Red Hallows Foundation, building an eye center in Port Moresby, right now to the tireless work of your help to World Vision and other NGOs like the ADRA in our most remote provinces. And we rejoice in the resilience of, again, our diaspora who are working, who are studying. And I'm happy here in this parliament, Mr. Prime Minister, there are some former New Zealand students who are also members of parliament. One of them, notably someone close to me, Governor of Southern Highlands, the Honourable William Powie. Mr. Speaker, I want to place on record in this parliament and register our greatest support for one of the biggest help to us and hand to us in as far as the Bougainville is concerned. New Zealand has been front, back and centerpiece in our talk and walk for peace on Bougainville. We reiterate our unwavering commitment to peaceful dialogue, mutual respect and constitutional path forward as we seek to register and solve our Bougainville issue. I thank the government of New Zealand past and government today, not only for your support of past during the Bougainville crisis, but for your continued support and leadership at present, especially in our last meeting at Bantam, the spiritual birthplace of peace for Bougainville. I want to appreciate the joint moderation consultation that was concluded at Bantam and the forging of the Melanesian Agreement under the guide and words of one of New Zealand's esteemed son, the Honourable Sir Jerry Matapora. He was instrumental, just like many New Zealanders before him. And I want to say in this Parliament, we appreciate the work Sir Jerry has done in this space. We look forward to continued work for peace in Bougainville. And I want to say the pronounced blessing of Matthew 5, verse 9 to New Zealanders who have had a hand in our peace process. Matthew 5, verse 9 says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God." New Zealand just do not practice peace, but it practices it. And we are better off because of New Zealand's role in peace, in not just Papua New Guinea, but peace in a region and peace as you work for peace in the global stage that we both share. Mr. Speaker, our region, the Blue Pacific, is no longer a quiet backwater areas in as far as world affairs is concerned. We're now at the center of global attention, competition and consequences. In this changing world, our unity as Pacific nation must not waver. In this regard, New Zealand is more than an ally. You're a campus, bringing trust, humility, and moral clarity. You lead not through might, but through right. The right of our existence in our Pacific. And that is the leadership Pacific respects. Today, I reaffirm Papua New Guinea's commitment to stand with New Zealand, to protect our oceans, uphold democratic values, strengthen climate resilience, encourage free and fair trade within and abroad, and ensure that no child of the Pacific is left behind, whether scorched by climate change disasters or poverty, etc. Papua New Guinea stands with New Zealand to protect, shield, and work for our Blue Pacific continent, something that I've been part of the construct since 2019 in our PIF engagements. In our bilateral discussions today, Mr. Prime Minister, we will advance key priorities. This includes expanding trade and investment ties between our two nations for inclusive growth. In a world of many trade barriers, I think fair trade is important between both nations. You have things that you produce that I don't produce. I have things that Papua New Guinea produce that you don't have. In an element, an envelope of fair trade, we can both find security, the exchanges between our two nations. We can broaden labor mobility for prosperity and dignity. If you need more laborers, whether casual and basic labor to skilled Papua New Guineans, we can uplift the standard of education training to a level where you accept our trained Papua New Guineans to work in your country if you need them. I have labor in abundance in Papua New Guinea. We can deepen cooperation in climate action and renewable energy. We can invest in new skills and vocational training alluded to earlier. Of course, enhancing security, disaster resilience for the benefit of our two nations and our Pacific. Mr. Speaker, let it be said that the partnership between Papua New Guinea and New Zealand is not built on aid, but it is rather built on mutual respect. Two nations coexisting side by side as our ancestors have been. Our ancestors have been in this part of the world for many, many generations. Mr. Speaker, I pointed to Prime Minister Lakson last night. The Lapita poetry has found its roots in Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea's Lapita is similar poetry, similar to those found in Solomon Islands, Vanuatu, New Caledonia, Fiji, Samoa, Tonga, Cook Island, Niue, and New Zealand. There's always 3,500 years. This is our shared history together in this part of the world. We will be living here forever until Jesus comes. Our children will be living here. It is our shared responsibility to carve out a better future for our two children and our children of the Pacific. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that this is not just a transactional relationship. It must be fueled by transformation for our two nations and our region that we live in. It is not just a line item on a budget, but this must be etched in our hearts. The heart of two governments, the heart of two countries, more importantly, the heart of our two people. In Tok Pisin, we say, you know man nothing, means you're not just an ordinary man. You man, your family, your mipla, you're part of our Pacific family. Prime Minister Lakson, New Zealand are our family. And on behalf of this Parliament, on both sides, and the opposition leader will also have the honor of addressing this Parliament. But on behalf of this Parliament and on behalf of my government, and of course all the people of our country, I want to extend a warmest thank you to you and your family, to your government, to your Parliament, and also to your people. Please convey our regards from the highest peak in our country to all the islands, over 600 islands of this country. We wish New Zealand continued success, and we want to say we are your brothers and sisters here. We will remain a buffer from the east to the west, from the north to the south in our part of the world. We remain a buffer as we have been in the past, and we will be into the future. For every work in partnership with Papua New Guinea is a construct for security, safety, and ambience of good life, not just for PNG, but for all of us. As the good book reminds us, the Bible says in Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9, two are better than one, because they have a good return for the labor. May God bless the people of New Zealand and New Zealand. May God bless Papua New Guinea. May God bless our shared Blue Pacific. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I invite the opposition leader to make a speech.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Christopher Luxon, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, and your delegate who are here in our country, we say thank you for visiting our land. Mr. Speaker, New Zealand has enjoyed a democracy that is more than 200 years old. A very strong and vibrant democracy. I had the opportunity to visit New Zealand in 2013. And seeing from and listening from the governments and the people of New Zealand, you have come a long way. Our nation will turn 50 in a few weeks' time. Our struggles Mr. Speaker, are real, but manageable by God's grace. Our land, like the Prime Minister has mentioned, our land of more than 800 languages and more than 1,000 tribes who have lived in unity for all these years, have worked together and survived the struggles in this nation. Like you in New Zealand, the Rangatiras, the Maori chiefs, have worked very closely with successive governments since 1840. And so when you look at New Zealand's democracy, you go a long, long way back. But that does not mean that the people of Papua New Guinea haven't governed themselves. Like New Zealand, you have the Rangatira or the Maori chiefs. We in Papua New Guinea have our chiefs as well. From the society where I come from, we are ruled by the Tabalus for thousands of years. Other societies in the New Guinea Islands, in the Momasa regions, in the Papua region, and in the Highlands region likewise, have been ruled by leaders, traditional, cultural leaders. From the islands of our coastal provinces and its communities and people, to the valleys and the mountains of the highlands communities, we say kia ora. We can learn from your strong, vibrant democracy to strengthen ours and continue to govern our people with that strength, vibrancy, and resilience in our democracy. A few months ago, I had a privilege of meeting the Indigenous Affairs Minister, New Zealand, who visited our shores. Today, I would like to thank you, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, through our Speaker, for recognizing the traditional landowners of this land, who have given their land and their resources so that we can have our nation's capital built here in Port Moresby. And the central people as well, but more so your recognition of the people of Papua New Guinea. We look forward to a more close and meaningful working relationship with the government of New Zealand and the people of New Zealand. Thank you to the governments of New Zealand of the past and present, and thank you to the people of New Zealand for standing with us since independence in 1975 and continue to do so in our growth as a nation. Your support in agriculture, health, education, infrastructure, and more so in sports, and many more in governance is well recognized, taken note of, and for that purpose, for that reason, we say thank you. Mr. Prime Minister, through you, Mr. Speaker, pass our greetings and gratitude to the government of New Zealand and to your people. Thank you. We wish you, and we say this, may God bless New Zealand and may God bless Papua New Guinea in this relationship that we have in the past 50 years and more. We wish you well as you travel back to your nation, and may God bless you. Thank you.
Honourable members, the Prime Minister of New Zealand will now retire. See you. Petitions, notices, asking